Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Please join me again in a prayer to the God of dislikes by singing along with me, gesturing, and leaving a dislike on your screen. Let's do it again. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. Let us pray to the God of dislikes that I meet the right person, a life partner, if you will. I'm not very romantic, but a life partner before a number of critical events in the near future. The big one being next year before it hits 110 degrees again. And the reason for that was that last year it was 110 degrees and I caught COVID 19 and I was all alone. And it was a very scary time in my life. Even though it only lasted a week, it was one of the scariest weeks I ever lived. Because you got to remember, I live part of the, well, because I'm alone and I only have one income, I often don't live in the best housing situations, don't have many supplies on hand. COVID 19, it's 110 degrees, going out there to get even just basic necessities. It was scary. It was scary. It's about as close to hell as you can get here on Earth, I would say. Um, and that was only COVID 19, right? Eventually, one of these days, I may have a much more serious chronic health condition, right? Heart disease, cancer. My grandmother just passed away. It sounds like it was some kind of heart condition. And doing that alone, 110 degrees, bad weather, cold weather, that's scary. And so after that situation, I made a goal to meet somebody before the next significant weather event. Right here in Phoenix, it's pretty much heat waves, right? But I might move somewhere as well, right? I used to live in Rochester, New York, and cold weather used to get to me as well. And uh, my last year studying at Rochester Institute of Technology, I was all alone. I had just broken out of a toxic relationship. The only thing I had going for me that year, the last year at RIT, was that I had some money. Precious metal prices had hit an all-time high, and I was regularly treating myself well at the time. That was the only thing going for me at the time. But I was all alone, cold, and getting ready to graduate with my PhD. Keeping busy also helped me get through that. But those were some pretty scary days in my life too. If now looking back at it, I don't know what I would have done had I not been fortunate enough for the market to be where it was at that time. Because I really treated myself well that year. 2011, if you want to, the precious metals, rare coins, all went into a bubble. I owned some mining stocks. Well, there's also other events going on. There's a lot of prejudice, and a lot of it implicit when you're single. So right now I'm getting ready to move apartments again. My lease is up. My landlord is selling her place. I was apartment shopping on roomies.com, and because I only have one income to pay for the apartment, a lot of options are just completely shut off. Right? I'll let you do your own research. Anybody can go to any big city and do apartment shopping. Just go to roomies.com, go to apartments.com, whatever have you. And I'll invite you to think about it, right? Imagine you make whatever amount, right? And then try to imagine you had a spouse that made whatever amount, and the two of you went shopping, right? You can play with the numbers if you want, right? Um, my I pay for my car insurance premiums twice a year, so every August and every February. I ought to change that because having the insurance premium due right at Valentine's Day and then being hurt that I have to pay more, it has been really painful for me. I almost need to change that just for that very reason. But then again, every month has its quirks that probably having it happen on Christmas season probably also has its own pains, right? So it's hard to say, right? Um, so, uh, but I haven't gotten into an accident since 2016, right? Knock on wood. But my insurance premiums have almost doubled in that time. It kind of hurts because after I got into the accident, obviously my insurance went up quite a bit. Not as much as I had feared, but then it started to go down. And then I hit the 3 year mark. Actually, part of the reason I now pay my premiums in February is because when I hit the 3 year mark, I switched the insurance to save money. I had the accident in August of 2016, so it was August 2019, and then I pay every 6 months, and so now I have the misfortune of having to pay my insurance every Valentine's Day and be reminded about how much extra I'm paying, um, and um, so every it comes a month before the bill is every July and January. I get an email saying that your insurance statement is ready. July, we have hot weather, heat waves, and all that. It just adds to all of the. I mean, it's not a lot of money, right? Even the difference between what I was paying at the bottom in 2020 versus right now, it's not a lot, right? But it's an insult, right? It's kind of like another frustrating time for singles. Obviously, is tax season. I mean, even that is not a lot. It's more of a I don't know why I even attach so much emotional value to it. I really don't. But I'd like to meet even if I don't meet somebody to settle down and marry. Um, I I don't I don't know the emotional complex of getting the tax bill, getting the insurance bill, the heat waves, and having to go out alone, and having to pay all of my bills 100% on my own really destroys me. Actually, it adds up to a lot, right? The individual insurance bills and tax bills might not be a lot, but it adds up. It's one of those things where I wish I could have that money for other stuff, right? It's not going to kill me, probably. It's one of those things I wish I had the money for other stuff, right? Especially to actually go out to look for. See, we should have a tax credit kind of system. You pay all these extra amounts for being single, but at least you can get them back in order to go look for that person, right? I wish we had a system that kind of worked like that, right? Actually, that wouldn't be fair either because there are people who don't want to look for somebody, right? So, but at least it'd be fairer than what we do have nowadays, right? All right, please continue to pray to the God of dislikes. This is the Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum. The Peter Dislike Show. Bum 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 bum.